What's up, guys? Just gonna go over the results of the last card real quick and talk about my bets and how they went, where it went right and where it went wrong, all that. Won't take up too much of your time on an old card deal, but just gonna go over it and that way that way y'all can see that I made some money last week. Let's do it. All right, man. So last week was a pretty good card. Um, it could have been better. Um, you know, as far as the bets went, which I'm not too disappointed. Well, I'm definitely disappointed that I put money on Imavov, even though it wasn't very much. I had a small play on him, and I had a small play on Catlin Vieira, and so both of those didn't hit, but they were, I mean, half a unit, just a couple $100, so uh, not too big of a loss on that, but yeah, I mean, I was completely wrong about Imavov. He looked horrible. Absolutely, man. He looked horrible. He didn't wasn't able to get anything going at all. He was getting outlanded every round. I don't think in my opinion, he didn't even win a round of that fight. So yeah, so that was a pretty disappointing, as far as that goes. But um, and I guess I could see now in hindsight. I was talking about how that line on Charles Johnson was ridiculous, that he was that big of a favorite. Well, he made it look like he was that big of a favorite. It wasn't a close fight at all. He went through Jimmy Flick pretty quick, and he ended up getting the knockout. To ground and pound, and so a good win for him. Definitely showed me something that time. But so other than the uh, Vieira and Imavov plays, I had a two-man parlay with Javid Bassarat and Umar Nurmagomedov. I'd got them both right when the lines first dropped, a few weeks back, and I got them both at they were three. Both of them were at 350 when I took them. It was like as soon as the card dropped, I got on there before they shot up even higher. So I got like minus, I think it was like minus 150, 151 on the parlay, and I loaded up on it because it was my most confident pick as far as the bets went, and yeah, so I loaded up on it. So basically, that covered my losses on the other two plays, and I still had some profit um, after that. Not a whole lot, but a few $100. But then I actually loaded up on um, Dan Ige, a live bet on him. About 20 seconds into his fight, I could just tell he was going to win, and I loaded up on that one pretty good. So I ended up getting about 3 units of profit out of the whole event. So, and if you're wondering, I know a lot of people may not understand, units or whatever. It could be a different amount for anybody. If you're new to this, whereas my units are like $500 a piece. So some people have 1,000, some people more, whatever. But yeah, I was kind of really with all the changes of this card and everything. Going into it in the beginning before everything started getting changed around, it kind of really had my hopes up. For just I had money on Romanov and everything, and I even told myself whenever they switched the main event to Strickland versus Imavov, don't put any money on that. Don't put it. Told myself just don't worry about it. Just leave it because they sent me my money back. I was like maybe I should just hold on to it. And then again, I went ahead and did it, but like I said, it was really small play, really small play on him and Vieira, so I know it wasn't too bad. Could have been better. I thought Catlin Vieira could have won that fight. I don't know I don't remember if it was a split decision or not. Um, yeah, it was a split decision, so it could have gone either way. It was pretty close from what I remember. That far into the card, I probably had a few beers in me at that time, so I might be a little foggy on it. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. But other than that, man. Uh, so Daniel Argueta, uh, yeah, he showed that he's pretty good, man. But um, man, he was really going for it. He kind of gassed himself out a little bit, and towards the end of the end of the fight, the third round, he seemed like he was a little gassed, but just kind of wrestling way too much, really going for it. But he's new and he'll get better and improve. I mean, he looked like the big favorite that he was in that fight. Wasn't a bad performance at all. Alan Nascimento did exactly what what I said he was going to do. I don't remember if I called it for round one or round two submission, but he went right out there and did it. In less than 2 minutes, got the finish, rear naked choke. So it was pretty exciting, and it was a good performance. I really do enjoy his grappling. Sometimes he can hold guys down, for the whole fight, and you know um, and it could be kind of boring. I love jujitsu. I love grappling. I used to train a little bit and stuff like that, and I find it really interesting, and I love it all. But I just wish that he would kind of put more, ground and pound into it rather than just, secure a dominant position and just kind of hold him or just keep constantly trying to progress to a better position without doing damage. Because one day that's going to bite him in the ass, Because some judges, if you're not doing any damage, they won't give you the round. I don't agree with that, but whatever. And Meitua's Rebcheki or Rebecki, however you want to say it, he looked amazing. I mean, that dude knows a really good grappler, and I guess he went out there and just was pouring it on Fior in the first round. Just lighting him up, and Fior's got a good chin for sure. He survived the whole 3 rounds, but Rebecki was just teeing off on him the first round. I was worried because coming into the second, he's a really big dude. For the weight class, a lot of muscle. So I figured he's probably gonna be gassed out, man. It's gonna be upset if he's super gassed out. But no, he was able to keep it up, and also he was able to use his wrestling to get that to get him down and kind of get a rest and catch his breath and everything and control him enough to catch his breath. And then he did a really good job. Definitely deserves to be in the UFC, and he definitely deserved to be the big favorite that he was. And props to Nick Fior for stepping in on short notice, to fight somebody that's 17 or 16-1 at the time. I think he's the number one in his weight class coming out of Poland is Rebecki. So, and let's see, I had all these picks right as far as my overall picks. And I did go with Ribeiro here. I didn't have money on it or anything, but he was on my official picks, and I could see some talent there, but he just got overwhelmed by a way more experienced veteran fighter, and Abdul Al-Hassan, and uh, yeah. So I'm like, man, Abdul's really been working some stuff. Seems like he's been working on his grappling a lot, which he was able to kind of hold Ribeiro up against the cage, and then use kind of like dirty boxing and elbows, to do a lot of work. It was pretty good. I did not appreciate the press conference afterward where he was, calling. I don't know who all. I know he was talking about Joaquin Buckley. I don't know if he was calling anybody else a bitch, but yeah, where I come from, men don't call their men other men bitches, So that's kind of took him down a notch in my book, for that. I mean, insult people all you want, but you ain't got to call him a bitch. Whatever, that's his thing. Yeah. And then, of course, we had the parlay I told you about with Nurmagomedov and Basharat. Both of them, I mean, Basharat looked good for sure, but actually, Mendoka didn't look super bad. You could definitely tell he's young and not as experienced, But he didn't look totally bad for being his first fight in the UFC. So props to him. And I mean, Umar is going to be the champion. No doubt in my mind about it. Umar Nurmagomedov is going to be the champion, coming up. I don't know how soon he'll get it, but as good as Raoni Barcelos is, he did not have anything going for him for even a second in that fight. And he's never been knocked out before. And Umar knocked him out. I did not see that coming. I thought he was going to out wrestle Barcelos and hold him down for 3 rounds and, maybe just ground and pound him out the whole fight. But no, he went out there and he knocked him out, man. And he was super cool about it because he felt real bad because he hit Ronnie after he was out on the ground, and he felt real bad about it. He's a nice guy, man. So, and then Pennington versus Vieira. Could have went either way, whatever. I mean, it was pretty close. I think Vieira had it going on the first half of the fight, and Pennington kind of took it over in the last round, and it could have went either way. I don't remember what the stats were on all of it or who outlanded who or anything. I didn't really look that too much into it because not a whole lot of people really want to hear me talk about the last card or whatever. So, and then Kopilov surprised the shit out of me, which I kind of did. I think I said that Soriano is either going to knock him out quick or he's going to gas himself out, and Kopilov take over in the later of the fight. So I did pick Soriano to win, and he looked horrible, absolutely horrible. Won't ever. I probably don't. I don't know if I'll ever pick him again, depending on who he's fighting. I definitely won't ever put money on him or put him in a parlay the way he performed there. And Kopilov looked great though, a lot improved. Sharp striking. Yeah, he looked really good. So props to Kopilov on that. And then Dan Ige. So I jumped on that. I think it was like live betting. It was like at like a minus. I think I got it like minus 150. Um, and I don't remember how much I put on that. Probably like 3 units. 3 units maybe. Um, no, it might have been two. I don't remember. But either way, that ended up paying off big for me because, of course, he went out there and got the knockout in the finish, and I got it at a good price. Live bet right at the beginning of the fight, so that made me actually get into some profit because with the way my bets were before, I had barely any profit. So doing that really saved me on this one. And yeah, Dan Ige looked amazing, and that's who I had picked. And I like I said, I thought he'd be able to stuff the takedowns of Damon Jackson. I thought he'd probably knock him out or beat him up for 3 rounds on the feet. So uh, yeah, and it's good to see him get a win after that bad streak that he was on. He was fighting all the best guys in the division. Couldn't get the wins with them, but he looked really impressive, and this shows that he is that higher level fighter you know than his record suggested, just because he got beat by some of the best guys in the division. And then the main event, Sean went out there and put a clinic on Nasruddin Imavov, and I was way off on that because Imavov looked horrible. You know, he looked tired after the first round. He was getting, everything Sean was throwing was landing. He looked horrible, and Sean looked better than ever. You know, and Sean actually did come into the fight being the heavier guy. I thought Imavov would come in being the heavier guy, and I think Sean had like 10 pounds on him. So that's pretty surprising. Um, yeah, but Imavov looked horrible. He got beat up for 5 rounds. Towards the end of the fight, he really tried going for it at the end of the fight, but it was too little, too late. And even then, he wasn't doing much. So that was kind of disappointing. I kind of had a higher hopes for Imavov there, but that kind of shows that if he doesn't improve quite a bit more, he's not going to break into that top five. Because the guys at the top of the division, Alex Pereira, Izzy, Sean Strickland, Jared Cannonier, he's not going to do too well fighting them guys. I mean, with the performance that he put on, he really needs to work on that cardio and he needs to tighten some things up. Um, yeah, that was pretty surprising to me that it went that way. I was kind of like, man, there's no way that that Sean's gonna beat this guy up for 5 rounds, and he looked good, and Imavov looked horrible. So my bad on that, guys. I really was wrong. But anyways, um, so I guess I could have gone over a little bit of news. I didn't take any notes down or anything, but just some of the things off the top of my head. Um, they announced the John Jones versus Cyril Gahn for the vacant title. First of all, I hate the fact that they were unable to come to agreement with Francis Ngannou, the guy whose belt that is, and they really should. They should give that guy whatever he wants, man. I hate to see him go. It sucks. He's going to go somewhere else, make more money, have more options. That's good for him. But it just sucks that at the guy at the top of his game, we're not going to get to see that, his career progress or see where he ends up or anything. But as far as Johnny Bones Jones, and Cyril Gahn. What do you guys think? You know, think you think John Jones is coming off of 3 years off and is going to come in there and look good and and pull it off and get the belt immediately? Well, I don't personally think so. Um, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the only thing that I could say he really has going for him in that spot is the fact that he is a good wrestler, and if he gets Cyril gone down, you know, he can win that way. But we don't know if his cardio is going to hold up with all the more weight on him. I mean, that's just it's a lot of what ifs in that in that situation, and I'm curious to see what the line's going to look like on that whenever it comes out. I don't think anybody's got it up yet, but I'm curious to see who they're going to have the favorite in that because in a kickboxing match, I think Cyril Gahn all day is going to win that. He's really technical. He doesn't get hit a lot. It's pretty good. And John Jones is just, I mean, he's one of the probably he could possibly be the greatest fighter of all time in a lot of people's minds. Um, not mine, but I do respect the guy, and I'm a big fan. I mean, after all this, him being gone this long, and every couple months, it's like, yeah, he's coming back. He never comes back. He never comes back. He never comes back. You're just waiting forever. I almost can't even take him seriously at that point. It's like they've been saying that he's going to come back at heavyweight, for fucking 2 years, and until it happened, until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. So that's whatever. So something else, guys. Um, Thinking about doing a kind of like a contest on maybe my next event video, not for UFC 283, but for the one after, or maybe the one after that. Um, I got some stuff on the way. I got like a couple of UFC fighter autographs with certificate authentication with them and stuff that are coming in, and I was thinking about maybe putting one of them up in a contest. Whoever watches the video, subscribes, likes the video, and whoever can tell me the total amount of significant strikes for the two fighters in the main event, whoever gets the closest number, maybe I'll give them one of the autographs or whatever. Now I don't have enough to do that every week. Maybe I could just do like a $10 reward or something like that, or whatever. But thinking about doing that. So if anybody wants to do that, just put it in the comments and let me know. And I'm probably gonna end up doing it. Maybe I'll change it up and do some sort of different. Because I know there are other places out there that kind of do that same thing. Maybe I'll switch it up a little bit and make another kind of contest. But so I appreciate you guys, and I'm out of here, man. Y'all have a good one. Yeah.